It's funny how life can pivot on the smallest of things. A misplaced spatula, a rainstorm, a chance encounter. For me, it was the smell of maple syrup wafting through the crisp autumn air that set in motion a series of events that would unravel my carefully constructed world. My name is Clara, and for the past 8 years, I've been married to Mark, a dedicated architect with a kind heart and a soul seemingly wired to spreadsheets and blueprints. We live in a charming Victorian house in Burlington, Vermont, a postcard-perfect town known for its fall foliage and a decidedly slower pace of life. Mark and I are both 36, and our lives had settled into a comfortable, predictable rhythm. Mark had always been the reliable one, the steady hand in our relationship. He was the kind of man who remembered anniversaries, made sure the car was serviced on time, and always knew where the spare keys were. He was a good man, but somewhere along the way, our spark had dimmed. He'd been working relentlessly on a massive downtown revitalization project, pouring every ounce of his energy into it. The late nights at the office became more frequent, the weekend meetings unavoidable. We started eating dinner in silence, each of us lost in our own thoughts, the television humming a background drone. We still loved each other, I think, but the passion had waned, replaced by a comfortable familiarity that felt more like companionship than romance. That's when Liam moved into the renovated barn next door. Liam was a transplant from California, a freelance photographer with tousled hair, a warm smile, and an easygoing demeanor. He'd bought the property to escape the hustle of city life and to reconnect with his creative side. Our initial interactions were polite but brief. A wave across the yard, a quick chat about the weather, the kind of neighborly exchanges that are commonplace in small towns. But then, one Saturday morning, I was attempting to make pancakes, a rare attempt at domesticity that usually ended in a sticky disaster. I realized I was out of maple syrup, a cardinal sin in Vermont. "Need some help?" Liam called out from his porch. He was leaning against the railing, a camera slung around his neck, looking impossibly casual and charming in a flannel shirt and jeans. "Actually, yes, I'm fresh out of maple syrup, and I'm trying to make pancakes. It's a complete disaster zone in there," I confessed, gesturing towards my kitchen window. Liam grinned. "Consider it solved. I've got a whole stash of the real stuff. Come on over." And that was it. That simple act of neighborly kindness opened a door that I hadn't realized I was longing to walk through. His barn was even more enchanting on the inside. Exposed beams, whitewashed walls, and natural light flooding through the large windows. It was a photographer's dream. He poured me a cup of coffee and a generous helping of maple syrup, and we started talking. It wasn't just small talk. We talked about our dreams, our frustrations, our passions. He listened intently, his eyes genuinely focused on me. He asked about my work. I'm a librarian at the local community college. My hobbies, mostly reading and knitting, activities that felt increasingly solitary, and my relationship with Mark. I found myself opening up to him in a way I hadn't in years. It was liberating to share my thoughts and feelings with someone who seemed genuinely interested and who wasn't already entangled in the daily grind of my life. Over the next few weeks, Liam and I spent more and more time together. We went for hikes in the Green Mountains, explored the local farmers' markets, and had impromptu picnics by the lake. He showed me how to use my camera, taught me about composition and light. He made me laugh, made me feel alive again. Mark, meanwhile, remained consumed by his work. The silences at dinner grew longer, the distance between us wider. I tried to talk to him about my feelings, about the emptiness I felt, but he was always distracted, his mind elsewhere. One chilly evening, after another fruitless attempt at connecting with Mark, I found myself on Liam's porch, sipping hot cider and watching the leaves fall. We were talking about our childhoods, sharing stories and laughter. Suddenly, Liam reached out and took my hand. His touch was warm and electric. He looked into my eyes, and I knew what was coming. "Clara," he said softly, "I've really enjoyed getting to know you. You're an amazing woman." And then he kissed me. It was a gentle kiss at first, tentative and hesitant, but then it deepened, becoming more passionate, more urgent. I didn't pull away. I couldn't. I was drawn to him like a moth to a flame. We spent the next few hours lost in each other's arms. We talked, we laughed, we kissed. It felt like a dream, a fantasy come to life. The physical intimacy was exhilarating, a stark contrast to the predictable routine I had grown accustomed to with Mark. Liam was attentive, playful, and passionate. He made me feel desired, something I hadn't felt in a long time. In the days that followed, our affair intensified. We found excuses to be together, stealing moments whenever we could. I knew it was wrong, that I was betraying Mark, but I couldn't stop myself. The guilt gnawed at me, but it was overshadowed by the thrill of the forbidden, the excitement of the unknown. I was living a double life, and the adrenaline rush was intoxicating. Of course, it couldn't last. One afternoon, Mark came home early from work. He said he had a surprise for me, that he'd finally finished the downtown project and wanted to celebrate. I froze. Liam was at my house, helping me fix a leaky faucet. Mark walked in on us. There was no denying what was happening. The look on his face was a mixture of disbelief, anger, and heartbreak. He didn't say a word. He simply turned around and walked out. The silence that followed was deafening. Liam and I stood there, frozen in place, the weight of our actions crashing down on us. Mark moved out the next day. He left a note saying that he couldn't forgive me, that he needed time to heal. The consequences of my actions were devastating. I had lost my husband, my home, my sense of security. I had hurt the man who had always been there for me, the man I had promised to love and cherish. Liam was supportive, but the spark between us had dimmed. The guilt and regret had cast a shadow over our relationship. We're still together, Liam and I, but things are different. The passion is still there, but it's tempered by the knowledge of what we did, the pain we caused. I often wonder if I made the right choice, if the excitement and passion were worth the destruction and heartbreak. I miss Mark. I miss the comfort and stability of our life together. The maple syrup affair changed everything. It opened my eyes to the emptiness in my marriage, but it also revealed the destructive power of desire and the devastating consequences of betrayal. And as I sit here now, watching the leaves fall outside my window, I realize that sometimes the sweetest things in life can leave the bitterest aftertaste.